Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my dear nothing I like. Welcome to Death Battle. Oh God, man, it's not really been a while, but I was kind of like, what's the word? Anticipating this episode, honestly. But yeah, we're reacting to another Death Battle episode. This time it's okay. Like, I will admit, I don't really talk about Death Battle much, so you guys probably don't know. But this was actually a Death Battle I've kind of wanted to see. I've only really played Dark Souls 1 and a little tiny bit of Skyrim, but never fully, completed any of their series or the games that I specifically mentioned. But honestly, I like the idea of this fight more so than any other game, really. Most other combative ideas, because there's a lot of combinations and abilities that these two characters come from, since they're creative characters. And so, I've been kind of anticipating this battle, and when I heard that, oh yeah, this battle was going to happen, I was like, okay, I'm going to avoid a lot of spoilers from, Death Battle side of things and other places, just to make sure I don't get too spoiled. The places I hang out in terms of like a Discord server that does talk about Death Battle, but they don't spoil anything, thankfully. So I'm gonna, I think I've heard some people say like, oh, this battle's awesome, or it was pretty good, at least for people who aren't too interested in it. But I'm kind of interested in it, so I'm wondering like how well this battle will do in terms of, well, everything else really. Whew. I'm just a little, nervous, but not of like who would win or lose, but more of like, I'm wondering who's gonna, how well this is gonna turn out between each other. Because I've always wanted to see it, because I think it has a lot of potential for a lot of good animation in terms of its fight, but could maybe flounder a little bit, but anyway. Now, I do want to mention, who do I think would win? I'm pretty sure the Dragonborn has this. He's a lot stronger, powerful, a lot more tools and abilities in his arsenal that he has over the Chosen Undead. At least, I think. I mean, I believe. I mean, if they, reveal something from the Dark Souls, or Soulsborne, or whatever, universe Dark Souls has a connection with, and they reveal, oh yeah, no, the Chosen Undead would win, then, honestly, I wouldn't mind either one winning. I'm just more interested in, like, how these two would really work together, how well it sort of, meshes together, and, how the combat and fight would look in general. So, yeah, not really much else to say than let's get started and actually watch this thing, at least, I believe. I will state, though, one thing I did hear about is that this fight's a 3D animation, which is pretty good. I know both series are 3D, but sometimes Death Battle does different styles for different characters, even though they probably should be in a particular style, but anyway, the point is this battle should be interesting to watch overall, so, hey. This is gonna be fun. Okay, let's get started. This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Brandon Yates. That's right, our Brandon. What? Like, did he actually pay for this episode? I don't get it. Also, Brandon Yates usually does release, tracks that he makes for Death Battle specifically, and you can hear the tracks on his channel, or maybe Death Battle shares them sometimes. But I've been trying to avoid their Death Battle Twitter, the actual, soundtrack or the musical track used for this. So what I'm going to be hearing in the background will be the first time I hear it. Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to be spoiled on anything. And I try not to watch this. And I know what you're thinking. But if you know, what do you call it? If the Dragonborn's going to win in general, why get spoiled? Let's just, I just don't want to be spoiled in terms of, what happens in the animation. Because it might change or might be different. I don't know. But I'm just trying to be very, trying to go in this almost blind with this one. Oh yeah, speaking of those two renders, I actually made a couple of death battle-esque thumbnails in my own time for this. I'll show them on screen. At least the ones I personally did. I think I only did 3. And honestly, I prefer the full body shots, but I also understand they would do the whole, Death Battle only does, like, headshots nowadays, so. Or they always do headshots, or to a degree. So I understand why they do it this way, so.
Resigned to captivity, these two demi-human heroes embraced their destinies and stared down the very gods themselves.
And devoured their friggin' souls!
Because these two lack specific canon arsenals and movesets due to being role-playing protagonists, for this death battle we're giving them everything they have and maxing out all of their stats.
Which is totally possible in-game if you're willing to grind. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Okay, so they're giving them everything? Well, unfortunately, I don't think everything will be shown in the actual fight, but at least they'll talk about it. This is also another thing why I wanted to see this specific fight, because, well, back then, they didn't really do too many fights where it's like, oh, we have a character who has a lot of weapons, what are we gonna do? Like, there's a lot of options for characters, and sometimes they have, certain character options. But, certain characters like Link and Cloud sort of got past this sort of, like, optional issue because, well, they had fighting game equivalent, or fighting game, or, crossover canonicity things where it was like, oh yeah, Link was in Smash Bros. Let's use his Smash Bros. Moveset, because, and Link does have a lot of bow and arrows, and bombs, and boomerangs, and hook shot stuff, so let's just use that stuff. And then pick certain equipment that could help here and there. And Cloud also, well, he appeared in Smash later on, but he also appeared in certain fighting crossover, well, not fighting, well, crossover-esque games with his own series, like Dissidia, and that one other fighting Final Fantasy game, I think. I forget what it was called. Or maybe it was maybe guest starred in that. I don't remember. All I do know is that Cloud and Link were like big examples of this, but at least they could be slightly narrowed down to what equipment they had and what weapons they had. But characters like, the Dragonborn and the Chosen Undead have so many options on how you play them in their original games. It's kind of nuts, and I've always wanted to see how Death Battle would handle this. But I guess it's more of like, well, they'll talk about certain sets and things, but they can't show all of it in the actual fight. But, they are at least going to talk about it, so that's good enough. At least this has, like, at least this would set a precedent for future, character created characters. Like, for example, one suggestion I want to see is the Saints Row, the original Saints Row created character, the one from like Saints Row, the first Saints Row to Saints Row 4, and maybe have them face off against the character from Crackdown. I don't know, but honestly, at least that would be kind of cool. The boss would be kind of interesting to see, but not the reboot. Not the reboot.
The heroes are dead or mad, and the golden age is over. Looking out upon their decaying kingdom, everyone would like nothing more than to lay down and die.
Ooh.
For them, that's the one thing they couldn't do.
The world has been gripped by the undead curse, turning any mysterious dark sign into mindless, violent hollows upon repeated soul-crushing deaths.
But
Oh.
prophecy of a chosen undead who will journey to Loeder, the home of the gods, and save the world.
Well,
Away in an asylum, all
depends.
an assist from an unlucky knight and a giant raven before one unlikely hero was ready to claw their way through.
Haha, sucker.
It helps that as
Sorry.
long as they can keep their sense of purpose, an undead will always resurrect at the nearest bonfire. Now, they might slowly lose their memories, their personality, and their sanity, but the curse gives them as much time as they need to get good.
Yeah,
Undead
I had a feeling.
naturally resilient, able to survive being impaled by the chest. They've been
Ooh.
eaten and digested by what
Oh,
I
no,
describe
no.
as a toilet demon.
Ugh.
They can have their souls torn from their very body, because undead humans don't need their
Undead lose their soul and humanity every time they die without immediate consequence. Their hollowed state is likely a reversion to pre-flame life forms seen in the intro. Okay. Honestly, I didn't really know that the Dark Souls stuff had comics or manga-esque things about them. I mean, I've heard about certain books, but that's about it. Uh, but now I do, and it's kind of interesting to hear about at least. One thing I will say about like the Dark Souls game in general, at least for 3, I enjoyed it, but I hear people don't. Or well, I mean that's the thing I want to talk about. As far as I can tell from like when Dark Souls was coming out, the first Dark Souls was like really revolutionary, or at least very, very like culturally relevant, or at least it made its mark in our cultural zeitgeist. Is that the word I'm looking for? It basically became a cultural landmark for certain things, for better or for worse. But the Dark Souls community, in and of itself, from what I've remember or gathered from when like the games were starting to come out, really didn't like further games. To be fair, I hear negatives for both Dark Souls 2 and 3, but I remember someone like specifically who was like new to Dark Souls who enjoyed 1, and then was like enjoying 2, but then it's like, oh, when 3 was coming out, they were like, oh yeah, I watched the trailer coming out. I was like, oh, I thought the Dark Souls community would be like really like, oh yeah, cool, this is amazing, new game. But then like people were just complaining. So I don't know. I'm not sure if people are like that anymore, or if it's like, they've gotten over that, or if they're still like that. Honestly, I don't know. If anyone could tell me, please tell me.
Souls to survive.
Just pop some of that spicy Sunny D, and they're good.
The Estus Flask was always one that kind of looked like interesting to drink. Like just generally, it looks like as if like it'd be kind of tasty. I don't know why I always thought that.
To go. If
Eh.
anything, it seems like they get up to it.
Okay, calm down.
Souls, they can absorb.
But to be fair, the Dark Souls community has also been given that little moniker of like being secretive masochists, but that's a different story altogether. One thing I know about like the whole series as a whole is that there's different weapon stats and amount of stamina that you need to do these certain quests and missions, but you also collect, believe souls as you fight off enemies. But unfortunately, you can lose them. But thankfully, they don't go away. They can be taken back eventually.
The souls of their fallen enemies to increase their power.
They're a master with swords, hammers, spears, axes, bows, you name it.
Oh, invading players.
Training. With the right stats and setup, they can be anything from a cartwheeling assassin to a dragon smashing tank.
To the giantest of dads. And despite
Why was that last one? Wait, hold on. Let me go back just a little bit.
Axes, bows, you name it. And that's without any formal training. With the right stats
Okay,
and
just
setup,
no, not the one.
anything from a cartwheeling assassin to a
Why was this one so zoomed in? Like, I get it. Like, they don't want to always show just the fighting. And it's kind of funny zooming in a little bit. But this one's, like, really too close.
dragon smashing tank.
to the giantest of dads.
I'm pretty sure that's a reference. But also, I can't help but think of, like, a different reference or person. Iron Tarkus. If you don't know, look up a clip of like Super Best Friends play Iron Tarkus or something like that, and you'll see what I mean. Ah, man, that was so funny to see. I will say that's also another little detail for Dark Souls in general. I heard about. It's like, oh, certain enemies can actually, or bosses can be dealt with in different ways. That's actually pretty cool if you're willing to look for them. At least look for weaknesses or ways of dealing with bosses. He's like, the one I'm referring to is that there's like this giant knight boss in one of the Dark Souls games, I think 3, and you can actually push him off a ledge. Yeah, you can push him off. I swear you can do that. So just look up Iron Tarkus on YouTube with Super Best Friends play involved. You'll see what I mean.
And despite the serious gothic themes of the series, these weapons can get anime as hell. Smo's Great Hammer is a ginormous mallet the size of a sedan.
Based on its size and likely bronze composition, it'd have to weigh over 100 tons. A lot like Goff's Great Bow, which can shoot pillar-sized arrows and one-shot dragons out of the sky.
Yeah.
Favorite, the Moonlight Greatsword, produced from the ass of the albino dragon and founder of sorcery, Seath the Scaleless.
Yeah.
Baby's a universe-hopping anomaly that can fire powerful sword beams and just looks so cool.
It really does. The thing, I know, by the way, I know only vague amounts of, like, the Dark Souls lore. I've read, or not read, I've listened to a few videos discussing, like, lore stuff here and there. I know about Seat the Scaleless to an extent. I knew he was, like, some type of magical, what's it called? Scholar of sorts? That learned magic because he didn't have invincible scales like his dragon brethren. He also betrayed the dragons in order to further his own agenda, or at least because they mistreated him or something. He teamed up with the humans and other species to kill the unkillable dragons. At least that's as far as I know of. Like, as a very gross generalization of that. If anyone wants to correct me, go ahead. Again, that's a gross generalization, so if anyone can tell me otherwise.
The Chosen Undead has learned magic from the greatest practitioners in the world. They can create shockwaves, form defensive barriers, reflect damage, throw balls of flame, control minds, fire magical crystal spears, turn invisible, and toss bolts of sunlight strong enough to peel the stone scales off of mortal dragons.
So
Yeah.
pool of magic is pretty
See?
limited.
That's what I mean.
If it comes down to it, they can shut off all magic in the vicinity with the miracle Vow of Silence.
Preventing anyone from speaking any spells aloud, including themselves. With this incredible arsenal and judicious attention paid to the stamina bar, the Chosen Undead was rolling their way to victory.
A roll so
Rolling,
powerful
rolling.
it bends the laws of space and warps them through attack.
Look, the combat roll is something that's not technically something that is useful in real life, from what I've heard. Like, I think most sword, people would say, yeah, no, combat rolling does not do anything for you. But it always looks pretty cool / funny in certain scenarios. In all honesty, I don't mind combat rolls in video games at all. I'm not a stickler for that, at least. But I remember seeing clips of this, like this cosplayer just rolling around in convention. It's pretty funny. Man, it was a while since I've seen a clip like this.
It's like they weren't even there. Though sometimes it doesn't work and it's bullshit.
Just a game mechanic, but great to use when you're panicking.
They've defeated Nito.
I think you have invincibility frames while you combat roll, so it's very useful, at least in game.
The god of death, the bed of chaos, the mother of
Oh god, the bed of chaos. This was actually one boss in, like, the original Dark Souls I did actually get to play, but that's all I did, and it was a bad introduction to the series. Thankfully, I played 3 first before I ever did this. I will say, I do plan on playing the original Dark Souls eventually, or maybe the remake? I don't know, which one should I do, the original or the remake? Either way.
all humankind, and Calamine, the strongest surviving ancient dragon.
That was when the Chosen Undead was dragged back in time to face the fallen knight Artorias, the greatest warrior in history.
Oh.
And not only defeat him, but accomplish the greatest feat attributed to Artorias' legend,
Ah.
the destruction of Manus, the father of the abyss that threatened to consume the world.
They've even beaten other Chosen Undead from alternate worlds, like the best
Okay. In Dark Souls 3, the Abyss has begun to consume the sun in the untended graves, where the flame has fully gone out. The sun is now completely black, no sun or stars left shining. Okay, see, like, this is kind of what I mean, to an extent. Like, maybe there's more to the Chosen Undead's abilities than it seems. From what I hear in general, like, the Dragonborn is just stronger, at least from his universe perspective. But honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're gonna, like, specifically put this. I hear the Dragonborn is a surefire, like, oh yeah, just go with him, he's gonna win. But maybe they might, like, interpret what the Dark Souls or the Chosen Undead can do and be like, nah, he wins because of this. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Like, we're about to find out, so, But still, it's interesting to see some of this stuff being brought up, at least.
buddy in all gaming, Solaire, praise the
Sun!
And soon they were approached by these two slithery freaks.
Yeah.
One said to link the fire, and the other said to let it die out, which totally makes sense.
convoluted as the flow of its time stream, which is why
Eh.
we have a true expert in the realms of nerdom to explain it for us. No, Jocelyn.
You wouldn't believe how many item descriptions, forum posts, and moody 2013 lore videos I had to watch through.
No offense. No offense to the person who made those lore videos. I mean, like, to be fair, you have to make your videos kind of interesting, so of course you have to make those moody lore videos. I said Loody. Anyway, so yeah, I can understand what she means by that, because like I already know who she's talking about. But yeah, lore videos, they're pretty good. Actually, I think someone actually did it was inspired by those particular lore videos and made their own version, but with Kirby lore. It's Woolly Versus. They actually do a pretty good job, so look them up. Look up their Kirby lore videos, trust me.
Through for this. It's story time, kids. In the beginning, the world was unformed and static. Then suddenly,
Okay.
the first flame burst to life, and with it, the concepts of heat and cold, life and death, energy and time, light and dark.
Sounds like a mythological Big Bang.
The gods were granted immensely powerful souls from the first flame, but their greatest fear was the soul possessed collectively by the race known as humanity, the Dark Soul. The Skyfather Gwyn feared humanity's immortality, and so sealed their dark souls within them. But as humanity reproduced, the Dark Soul collectively grew, and the first flame waned. Turns out humans were naturally undying, or, according to the gods' propaganda, undead.
Yes, it's all a conspiracy. The undead curse was a lie.
Linking the fire means using your very soul as fuel to keep the first flame burning. If an undead champion believes their immortality is a curse, they'll do anything to prevent it, including burning fragments of the Dark Soul to keep the Age of the Gods going.
So you're a pawn in a game played by decrepit gods desperately clinging to power. Well, that's a huge bummer.
They might look like a depressed California raisin, but in order to link the flame, their soul needs to be strong enough to maintain the whole universe and the flow of time for another 1,000 years.
Other similarly powerful undead across time are swift enough to dodge lightning and even light itself. Based on their dodge compared to this beam and the time it took to reach them, they'd be reacting and moving at over 20% the speed of light.
At the end of their quest, they faced down and defeated Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder, long hollowed from linking the flame 1,000 years ago. So, which...
One thing I know about Lord Cinder here, or Gwyn, right? Gwyn? The thing I know about Gwyn, though, is that he's actually an easier boss compared to other final bosses in the series, or at least other bosses before you face him. I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
will you choose? Link the fire and prolong the current age, or let it fade until only dark remains?
This is the biggest bummer of them all. Truth is, it never mattered. The cycle just continues age after age, with new heroes replacing the old ones, until the Chosen Undead was long forgotten.
Until the infinite march of time ground the world to ash. It was never about the happy ending. It didn't exist. It was about the struggle to get there. That's ultimately what gives us meaning.
Well, the third... what does the third endings game imply anyway? Well, there's multiple endings you can actually get for the third game, but I'm wondering, what does it imply towards the end? Because there's a way of doing a few different endings, so if anyone could explain those, I'd be okay hearing them. But okay, now we're on to the Dragonborn.
This battle is sponsored by Brandon.
That's right, Boomstick. Dive into the thrilling world of versus music with Brandon Yates, as he brings hypothetical matchups to life through his commissioned compositions.
Brandon is one of the composers behind Death Battle, bringing us the incredible, show-stopping songs you know and love. Seriously, we love this guy.
Hollow Dreams, Pride, Hedge of Tomorrow, and some of our all-time greats.
So-
In fact, he composed the track for this very episode.
We'd love it if you supported Brandon's work
Ah.
and enjoyed more of his music by subscribing to his channel and following him on Spotify.
Ever had a matchup you just want to see on the show, and you just
Doesn't he have a Patreon or something like that?
Well, fans of Death Battle...
I mean, you can do commissions for him, at least.
All commissioned by fans like you.
Yeah.
talking hundreds of commissioned songs, all for hypothetical episodes of Death Battle.
Everything everything from hard rock to jazzy to electronic to orchestral choirs.
And because Brandon is literally one of the main composers of this show, every track he makes sounds straight out of death metal itself.
Love the music from Death Battle? Then don't wait. Subscribe to Brandon Yates' YouTube and
Okay.
follow him on Spotify right away.
So did Brandon like pay for a spot here?
You're finally awake.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Frost
Kind of weird.
Paradise.
But okay, cool. Like
Nordic villages. Hike up.
Like, I will never say not to support Brandon Yates because, you know, he makes good music. So, go ahead and do that, I guess. It's just kind of, like, weird to see that here. It's like, oh, our, today's sponsor is not a product. It's a Brandon Yates, you know, our musical composer. Okay, that's cool, honestly. Hopefully that's not a bad sign for anything. But, yeah, go support Brandon. Because I know he takes commissions, but I'm like, does he have a Patreon or anything else? Or is it just, like, direct, you know, payments that he gets, most of his earnings from, I believe? I don't know. Oh, no. No.
It's Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, that is a dragon. But not the here, Drake. This is Alduin, the world. And he's come to burn everything to a cinder.
But fortunately for you, his path of
Oh.
destruction happened to interrupt your impending execution at the hands of those uppity Imperial pigs. That'll be the worst mistake this scaly monster would ever make.
It wouldn't be long
Run!
to escape the destruction of Helgen and defeat the dragon yourself.
Then absorbed its freaking soul.
That could only mean one thing. You are a being born with the blood and soul of a dragon in the body of a Nord, or elf, or Khajiit, or lizard dude destined to
Lizard dude.
Halloween and save the world.
I love that lizard dude.
You are the Dovahkiin,
Pretty funny.
Dragonborn.
Fusroda!
The red Tamriel
Sorry, I'm just laughing about like the small little meme thing that happened when Skyrim was still waning. Well, still waning in terms of its popularity when it was really for Pete's sakes, also left by Todd Howard. What is he gonna start turning into spaghetti and then stretch his limbs across the world? It just works, ladies and gentlemen. It just works. Anyway, sorry, I just read that, you know, it's Todd Howard. Todd Howard thing. Anyway. Where was I? Oh, yeah, right. When, you know, this whole game was starting to become, like, generally, like, you know, really hyped about and talked about, and people just were like, oh, this game is so amazing, or, you know, just talked about the game in general, I kept on seeing a meme crop up about the whole... What's it called? I'm trying to find a word for it. What was it? Oh, yeah, right. The meme about the song of the, you know, the Dragonborn. You know, the one that had, you know, the general, like, Skyrim theme song of sorts that were playing. And then they also had, you know, the actual voice clip from the original trailer where it's like, you know, a narration voice goes like, they'll call him Dovahkiin, Dragonborn. And then, you know, the voice line of like Fushrota plays, and then, you know, the music happens. That was a meme for a while from what I remember. Man, it's been a long time. And I just remember vaguely a lot of clips where the music played during like epic-esque moments. So, sorry, it's just something I remember. It's like, man, it's so vivid I can remember it. It's kind of weird, but interesting.
Alduin's dragon army. The Dragonborn became a jack of all trades,
Hmm.
master of all.
They learned to be a master assassin.
Wait, was that a crab in a top hat with a monocle? Man, this is ridiculous. I'm out of here. Come on, Master Chief. If anyone gets that, you win a little cookie.
A master sorcerer with the College of Winterhold. A master
Dual axe.
nightingales. A master dragon hunter with the blades. And a master good boy. Who's a good boy? That's a good boy.
Fought in the Skyrim Civil
The one thing I did do when it comes to Skyrim and Dark Souls, I probably should mention, is that I watched a lot of people play the first game and Skyrim. So, while I didn't play them, I watched people play them. And there were a lot of few moments for, like, Skyrim that either had a small glitch or not really a unintended funny moment that happened that was pretty funny. Like, in order to become a werewolf, you had to do a particular ritual, and there's this one moment where, like, someone has a werewolf next to them. I guess he's also a part of, like, the particular ritual, and he's willing. Have him, like, slit his palm, so that way blood can be put into this, like, large little bird bath goblet thing, thing for, you to drink, I guess, from, or do something with to become a werewolf. But anyway, when they do it, like, they show the animation of them slitting the guy's palm, but then all of a sudden, like, the bowl just suddenly fills up with blood. It's pretty funny to see. And it's from also Super Best Friends Play. That's the video I'm talking about. Sorry, just remembering a lot of this stuff brings back so many memories of, like, the early 2000s. At least for me, the early 2000s internet. Some of which I'm glad is gone, but you know what I mean. Some of the more better memories of the 2000s early internet. Good times. Good times.
Civil War on the side of the Imperial Legion, champions of order.
Okay.
The Nordic War for Independence on the side of the Stormcloaks.
Those elf-funded Nord supremacists?
Better than those jackbooted Cyrodiil fascists? But what else could I expect from a monster who steals from innocent villagers by sticking buckets over their head?
I know there might reveal it, but no way Boomstick hasn't done that.
They can put their skills
Okay, I guess they weren't saying, but no, I very much doubt Boomstick didn't do that. He did that. He totally did the whole bucket trick. Although, by the way, has that been patched out in general, actually, like, with the more recent releases of Skyrim? Because, like, I kept on seeing that, but then I also saw someone do it once, and it didn't work. So, is that, like, patched out? But basically, in Skyrim, the physics engine's kind of a little bit weird, but if you place something big enough to cover someone's face and eyes, they cannot see you steal any of the things that they have out in the open. So, that's a quick way of getting money without having to, be in trouble. So if anyone can tell me whether or not that got patched out or not, because, like, I remember seeing the clip of someone trying that, and it didn't work for some reason. Maybe it was a recent patch? I don't know.
good use with an absolute ton of weaponry. Not just the usuals like daggers, swords, hammers, and axes, but also special weapons given to them by the Daedric princes.
They're basically crazy powerful gods
Ooh.
from the plane of existence called Oblivion. From that wascally wabbit Sheogorath, the Dragonborn received the Wabajack, a staff that casts a completely random spell on
Oh, Jesus.
from disintegrating them to healing them to turning them into a chicken.
From Meridia, they received the
Nugget.
a holy sword made for burning the undead to ash. That's similar to Oriel's bow, which can shoot.
Like, this is kind of what I mean. From what I hear, the Dragonborn has a decent amount of counters against the Chosen Undead. He can also absorb souls in general. And I don't mean just dragon ones. I think he can absorb regular souls. So I'm not sure how this fight will end. But it should be interesting overall.
Fiery arrows that
Like, I'm just hoping the 3D fight itself is going to be really good to look at. It is really all I'm worried about. But so far they've been doing a pretty good job of explaining, Dark Souls... the story of, like, Dark Souls and a little bit of Skyrim. Maybe they'll do it more in a bit when I reveal it. Maybe it might change, I don't know. But so far they've been doing decently in terms of the analysis. Small little jokes here and there. Nothing really too, like, laugh out loud funny, but they still get a chuckle out of me. Although mostly, I guess, to me, I'm mostly laughing at some of the memories. I'm thinking about, like, the old-ass memes that came from Dark Souls stuff and Skyrim stuff. For Dark Souls, I remember, like, continuous jokes people did about, like, how, Dark Souls player were like, oh, you're not really playing Dark Souls correctly if you're not playing it on super hard mode or, only with a specific weapon type. And then someone made a joke about, like, well, you're not really a gamer if you don't complete these games by, tying your feet, sitting on a bale of nails, and using this Bop It as a controller. Or something like that. I think it was Super Butter Buns that made that joke. Man, it's been so long since I've seen certain videos. But yeah, that's one of the few, like, meme jokes, like, early on that I remember, and it's like, oh man, I'm getting so many flashback and memories about this, honestly.
can blot out the sun.
Anyway.
Cover the distance between the Earth and the sun in about 2 seconds. The arrow would have to be moving at over 250 times the speed of
Well,
Except this isn't Earth and the sun. This is the planet When you look up at the sun, you're actually looking.
The arrows are described as working by traveling to the sun, Magnus, and temporarily altering the magical connection between Nurm and the gods responsible for sunlight. Still pretty powerful arrow that it's altering the magic that gods are responsible for. So, anyway, the stars are a bridge too.
Into a dimension of pure magic. Confused yet? I am.
I mean, I like. This is also a weird one because it's like there's so much lore differences between our realm, our world, and this world that there's gonna have to operate and fix how they handle this sort of thing.
Exact measurements here are difficult to make, but if anything, the distance should be much greater.
Speaking of magic bullshit, the Dragonborn can heal themselves, cast wards and destructive elemental spells, control minds, conjure weapons, and summon lesser Daedra to help them out in a scrap.
They're an especially powerful mage because their mana recovers itself automatically over time. They'll never truly run out of firepower. But as a Dovahkiin, the ability they're most
Okay. Okay, that is something I've heard about with Dark Souls. You do need to replenish your magic pretty consistently, but I'm not sure if it's as like bad as, you know, if it's slower than how the Dragonborn refills their mana or not. So,
famous for is the Thum, or shout. By speaking the
Fusrota.
language, they can manifest their will into reality.
Like with the classic Fusrota! Unrelenting force, which can
And the Skyrim like ragdolls were always kind of funny to me at first, as when I was really young. Ragdolls are still pretty funny nowadays. There's also another glitch thing I know about when it comes to Skyrim, where if you're frozen from like an enemy and you fall down a hill, you fucking careen down the side of the mountain and almost break the game. Pretty funny.
neighbors in it next week, or Soul Tear, which removes the soul from your enemy's body and stores it in a cute gem, like so. Riva Soul! Wait, why didn't anything? Oh.
Student loans, man. Something had to cover the down payment.
Okay, hold on, let me try that one.
Wait, why didn't anything? Oh.
Student loans, man. Something had to cover the down payment. With
Okay, that's pretty good. Hold on, let me double check. Oh, okay. Just double checking if they had another like clip there that they did. Okay, no, it was. Hey, that was a pretty good joke, honestly. But I will say it's a little weird because like I remember in one of the previous episodes, maybe not this season, last season, what was it? Maybe it was during like season 9 actually, maybe. But anyway, in that episode, like, you know, Boomstick signed off his soul and agreement to Wiz. So I'm wondering, like, wait, if Wiz doesn't have a soul, how is it that he's able to make a deal to have someone else's soul? Seems kind of weird, but, you know, it's all a joke. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It just kind of seems weird.
Dragonborn can summon country-spanning storms, slow down time, and even call upon a dragon for help. Odahviing. Dragons may look like scaly reptiles, but in reality, they're immortal demigods older than time itself.
Yeah.
They're the children of the chief god of Tamriel's pantheon.
The Dragonborn is an unstoppable.
Like, Alduin in particular, like, from what I can understand, could destroy the world. Maybe even the universe of Skyrim, I believe. But I know he's really strong, which makes what, the Dragonborn does in particular very impressive. At least that's as far as I've understand it. So I know they'll talk about it, but that's just something I want to bring up because it's kind of interesting to know who's going to win, but it might be changed depending on how Death Battle, states their information and explains themselves.
Force of nature. If they happen to take any damage, they can just drink a potion or nosh on a cheese wheel and be good as new.
Sorry, I'm reminded of a more recent joke someone made. It's like, hey, you know this Nordic axe comes swinging on towards you. You hit the pause menu, 80 wheels of cheese just go straight down your throat.
They can carry up to 150 cheeses at once.
Jesus, the frame rate is fucking dying with as many goat cheeses.
Dream.
Assuming these determined that the Dragonborn can carry up to 10,500 pounds of cheese.
Just all of that going straight down your throat. Skyrim logic, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look, I weigh 600 pounds. Let me eat this basket to fix the problem. There's a video the Russian Badger did that specifically jokes about that. It's a Payday video. Which one? Just check out all his Payday videos. They're great. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm just really, man, this is just really funny to see. I'm pretty sure there are heavier objects to use, but, this is just a rough estimate sort of idea.
That makes sense, considering they can match muscles with giants who are so strong they can shatter the game's spaghetti code to...
The last Dragonborn has battled the Vampire Lord Harkon, ended Skyrim's civil war, and defeated the first Dragonborn, Mirak.
And according to the book, the Guardian and the Traitor, Mirak was powerful enough to tear...
While originally speculated to be mythical, Mirak's existence was confirmed in the last Dragonborn DLC. The Asuran warriors, while also sank the island of Yankra, making this consistent. Okay.
Apart the island of Solstheim from Skyrim's mainland.
By comparing the size of various countries on Tamriel's map, we can determine that Solstheim is a landmass nearly 1,500 miles in diameter. To move that much land over the course of their fight, Mirak's magical prowess must have outputted energy over 300 teratons of TNT.
Actually, just to say, the actual editing here of the little numbers, the little items in terms of their editing effects, all that's pretty good, honestly, so far. I do enjoy what the visuals here.
Impact of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Not too crazy when shouts can get strong enough to shake the world itself.
It wasn't long before the Dragonborn confronted Alduin in Nord Heaven and put an end to the World Eater once and for all.
Yeah, but that is literal. By absorbing the souls in Skyrim's afterlife, Alduin was powerful enough to devour everything. Not just the planet of Nirn, but the Kalpa, the entire timeline past, present, and future.
See, that's what I mean. I've heard he's a world eater, but then I hear oh, no, he's beyond that, in terms of realms and universe. Or at least the timeline. And it's okay, that might be more than what the Chosen Undead's ever faced, I believe.
That's the level of unimaginable power the Dragonborn is dealing with here.
Tamriel is no stranger to great heroes across its vast, sprawling history. The Nerevarine, the hero of Kavash, all magnificent in their own right.
But when you heard that shout echo through the mountains and the death throes of a dragon defeated, you knew it could only be the Dovahkiin. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin.
I will admit,
Did you know that I can blow up a galaxy?
But anyway, the what do you call it? The the song for the Dragonborn is always kind of catchy, and I do enjoy it. Honestly, I think it's pretty good. But okay, yeah, let's see. What do they have to say?
I signed up for a Death Battle YouTube membership.
Oh.
Click the join button on any Death Battle video or the YouTube channel. You can pick from 3 different tiers.
Okay, why have Boomstick have the cutesy eyes? It's kind of weird. But okay.
Full of extra goodies. Base form champions get special badges, emojis, live chats, and the Death Battle Discord.
Right, if you go with planet level, you can watch all sorts of
Oh, okay, galaxy level. Okay, they name it after power level. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
Alright, combatant SARS.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. If you want to support Death Battle, I suggest it because they're kind of dealing with something with the Rooster Teeth. But yeah, go ahead and, support Death Battle, how they do their stuff. Go ahead and support that because I do suggest that. Other than that, not really much else I can really say other than just, enjoy. But, oh well. Honestly, like I said, I think the Dragonborn has this, but if they spin this to where, oh no, the Chosen Undead wins, I wouldn't really mind, I guess. I don't have a huge... I'm mostly just interested in how this fight would go in terms of its animation, how well it was going to handle the two characters' stories, mostly just trying to see how well this would go, and how well it could be, an interesting fight in general. And so far, I'm not disappointed. Maybe the fight animation might be a little weird, but whatever. I'm not expecting everything to be, showcased in their actual fight, but I'm actually just expecting a good fight in general. So, yeah, I think the Dragonborn should win this, but I don't know. Maybe they might change it. I don't know. So, either way, I wouldn't be disappointed, I guess. So, let's see. Alright, let's see how this goes. I heard it's 3D, and it's supposed to make sense considering these two.
This fool who would let the flame burn the age of humans to ashes. Agents of dark will do anything to snuff out the light. Save us, chosen undead.
I do like how, like, what do you call it, the styles to these two, where it's, like, sort of medieval Europe-esque. Even though, technically speaking, I guess you could say, like, the developers aren't from Europe, technically speaking, but still. Overall, I always thought the aesthetic could actually be pretty good, because it's like a Viking versus a knight. But there's more to it than just that. So far, the animation does look pretty good. Like, pretty overall. It's a little weird in certain places, like certain movements, but it's not too bad. Pretty good. Of course. Are we gonna get a first, what do you call it? I thought, are we gonna get a POV shot with the Dragonborn? Right in the knee. Of course. Oh no. Okay. Like, this was actually something a lot of people were wondering about, or talking about. Something I didn't really mention, because I was going to be like, well, let's see if they're actually going to do it in the animation, or even talk about it. They didn't really talk about it in the analysis portion. But the Chosen Undead keeps on getting well, they sort of did, but they didn't really, like, focus too much on it specifically. The Chosen Undead keeps on getting revived in terms of, waking up at the nearest bonfire that they lit. So, people are wondering, well, is that going to come into play here where it's like, oh, how many times are they going to have the Chosen Undead be killed, or are they going to even count it as a death, or will the Dragonborn be overwhelmed by the amount of times, the Chosen Undead gets revived? So most people were like, well, how is this whole reviving situation going to work? I think some people have said, like, the Dragonborn might be strong enough to, break the fire in general, or the flame that revives the Chosen Undead. So maybe that could happen, I don't know. Like, this is all pretty good. I will say, the Dragonborn's face is a little weird, but at the same time, it's all pretty good so far. Pretty good. Okay, let's see. Now that's a good shot. Like, we did get a POV shot, but it was from the Dark Souls Chosen Undead side, so let's see. Oh well, if we don't get it from the Dragonborn side, it's not the end of the world. Might be for this place, though.
Leave this world, chosen warrior. Blink the fire.
Of course, they added the "you die" part. Okay, well, I guess that world's fucked. uh, okay, sorry, that surprised me at the end. But imagine if that was a DLC fight where you had to fight against the Dragonborn in Dark Souls, or vice versa. Okay. Okay, that was pretty good, honestly. That was very good, honestly. Like, very fun. Although I was really quiet at certain points, so I'm sorry if I was. I was just really, like, just trying to focus, mostly. Anyway.
This debate was fascinating. The Dragonborn had a wider variety of training, better access to summons, and magic that passively regenerated, as opposed to the Chosen Undead's limited pool of magic.
Battle of Silence was a slick counter to the Dragonborn's magic and shouts, but it wouldn't last forever.
The Dragonborn was significantly faster, too. The Chosen Undead could dodge beams of light, sure. Oriel's bow could fire arrows that move at least 250 times that.
But none of that mattered if the Chosen Undead couldn't...
Given that the arrow would need to pass through the infinite dimension of Oblivion to reach Magnus, the actual speed of the arrow is arguably infinite as well. Ah, jeez. Well, that's something.
Stay dead.
You'd think the Dragonborn's anti-undead weaponry like Dawnbreaker would be an easy solution, but the undead of Dark Souls aren't really the same as Draugr from Skyrim.
Skyrim undead are more like those classic reanimated skeletons. But remember the conspiracy. Humans in Dark Souls are naturally immortal. They're not actually undead.
Soul Tear wouldn't have been much use either, considering humans in Dark Souls can have their souls removed without dying.
So why didn't the Chosen Undead just keep coming back until they eventually won? Like with any Dark Souls boss.
One word, power. The Dragonborn had way more and greater feats of raw power than the Chosen Undead.
Oh yeah, like so many country-spanning storms with a
Staff of Magnus is also capable of countering the power of the Eye of Magnus, which has the power to remake the entire world of Nurm.
single
Neo?
defeating Mirak, who split a continent.
There's also the lore. Both characters are essentially mythological demigods in the same kind of vein as Hercules or Sun Wukong. Gameplay alone won't give you the best idea of their full power as characters.
Yeah.
So let's get an idea of their max potential from the lore.
The Chosen
The
Undead
lore.
First Flame with their soul was insanely impressive. Considering the First Flame is responsible for the core concepts of the universe, like energy and time, it's not a stretch to say it affects not just the planet they live on, but the whole universe.
But that's nothing compared to the power levels in the Elder Scrolls.
Let's compare the First Flame to Alduin. Both literally run on the power of souls, and both can be directly scaled to our combatants.
Alduin had strength to consume the universe, not just Nirn, but the Kalpa as well.
You know those
Okay.
planets you see in the sky? According to cosmology, those are actually separate, infinitely big planes of reality. Alduin was going to eat infinity, multiple infinities.
In comparison, the First Flame is powerful enough to
Okay, Chosen Undead, greater survivability, resurrects upon death, but will eventually go hollow, too slow and weak to win, more limited arsenal, far more powerful, much faster, regenerating mana, greater fertility, can only die once. Okay. Okay, I can see. Okay. So I was right. The Dragonborn was going to win either way.
sustain a universe and the flow of time.
Just checking.
But it can't be infinite. Otherwise, it never would have faded to begin with.
And that meant the
Yeah.
Chosen Undead just wasn't powerful enough.
And can even lose their will to stand or move, let alone fight. Eventually, and effectively dead. This happened to Mashkin Segmire in Ash Lake. Okay.
No matter how many times they revive. With that much of a difference in
'Kay.
power, the Chosen Undead would eventually lose their will to fight and go hollow. It's not traditional, but it is a form of death in Dark Souls. The Chosen Undead was surely tenacity personified, but still wasn't enough to stand up to the Dragonborn's incredible skill, broken arsenal, and overwhelming power.
The Chosen Undead could only last so long before they flamed out.
The winner is the Dragonborn.
Okay, good. Cool.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have a new death battle releasing.
Man, they really are starting to, like, just shotgun through the credits there.
Planet level members even see death battles before anyone else, so don't miss out.
Okay, I think I heard about what this next time is. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Wait, what was the character again? We're from? Or let's see. Hold on. Killa versus Misaka. I have no idea where they're from. I think the first one seems kind of familiar. The guy seems familiar, and okay, this is kind of interesting. Two anime-esque characters. At least they don't come to mind completely. I hear that the other girl is from a series called Specific Index. Well, she came from a spin-off, but you know, it's the main series is something called Magical Index. So there's that. Like, honestly, I don't know. I don't know these two characters too well or much. So this should be that may be something I might watch in general, just you know, as a reaction video, because it might be interesting. But aside from that, yeah, this whole video was actually pretty fun overall. Like, I enjoyed a lot of this Death Battle episode. It was pretty fun, enjoyable. I enjoyed it a lot. And hey, I was right. The Dragonborn did win. I was kind of worried that they might, like, try to, like... Well, I know it's like they have to talk about, you know, the Chosen Undead as best they could. Is they want to be fair for all of their combatants. Even if some of them are a little bit outclassed by their other opponents. Sometimes. Okay, most times. But still, overall, pretty good episode, I think. I think this whole fight was very entertaining, pretty fun. There were some good jokes, or at least some, like, chuckle-worthy jokes in the pre-analysis, and in the fight was actually pretty good in terms of its animation, and a lot of the things happening there was pretty cool. Okay, so, yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and if you guys did, please support the original release of Death Battle. Go to their channel, subscribe, maybe join their membership so that way they can, you know, keep doing this type of thing. Lord knows if certain issues and problems that are kind of like risky, but that's a different story. Hopefully, you know, Death Battle does well for itself. So, yeah, I'll see y'all next time in the next video. If you did enjoy this video, just, you know, stay tuned for whenever I do another Death Battle reaction. But I'll see y'all next time in the next video. So then, sign out, robots. Take care.